This may be one of the most important circuits in all of motorsport history. It's one of the oldest circuits to have ever been constructed. It is the longest tenured circuit that is still active in the world of motorsport. Every single month of May that comes along, they put some lovely open wheel cars around here. And then, sort of around this time, we get some lovely close quarters, closed wheels action as NASCAR looks to try and push its challenge around the Brickyard 400. But we often talk about it being a brickyard. This is just a ton of bricks in the yard here for 250 as we look to get ourselves sorted for action into the money rounds here of your fourth season of Creator Series. I'm Jake Sperry, that's Caleb Hoffman, alongside with me for today's action. And Caleb, there's always something special when we head back to Speedway, Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, this is a new challenge for these guys. Haven't quite seen the 200 mile per hour plus speeds that we're anticipating on seeing here at a track like Indianapolis. You talk about all the storied history of this place. It's always a special time to come watch a race here. So really excited for what we have in store tonight. And again, getting right down to the thick of it in terms of that championship fight. Only 3 races left after tonight. So these guys, again, have that championship on their mind. And again, just really excited to see what we got in store for us tonight.
We absolutely will have a lot of fun to go out there with this championship, a sort of super half-serious run that some people will have. It's all about the content, remember, with these creators in Creator Series. But let's take a look at the schedule and how it is going to line on down where we are. So we're keeping a very close eye here with these ton of bricks in the yard because we've got some historic action that will be coming through on July 29th for a special event. Before then, we're getting all the brands out at Brands Hatch and finishing off at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So that's going to be a really fun battle that we're going to be seeing coming up towards the end, having another street circuit, but one that, or another, I would not street circuit, but more rather a dedicated road circuit to go out there and battle with. And following that on, Caleb, then with New Hampshire Motor Speedway, which often I think goes under the radar, just how underrated of a circuit it is.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think you look at this calendar and look at Indianapolis, and it sticks out almost like a sore thumb at you. I mean, again, we have our really high banked ovals that we start the season off with, our short tracks, our road courses, obviously, and then over the next few weeks, a little more of that same flavor, like you mentioned, the road course, and then New Hampshire, one of those flat ovals again, but not in the taste of what we're going to get here tonight. Again, over 2 miles in length and really, really difficult to pass, but it makes this a really challenging race for these drivers. They're going to have to attack it from some new angles. And then over the next 2 weeks, obviously, with Brands Hatch and then New Hampshire, obviously very unique from one another. So again, that's been the talk of the town, the talk of this calendar all year long, is just throwing the wheelhouse at these drivers, making them adapt every single week to these changing conditions, and no different here today.
Yeah, so we'll be keeping a very close eye on how that will all play. And, of course, they will have a break round to come along as well. So that will be finishing in August 19th, your championship finale here with Creator Series and live on iRacing as well. And it's worth now getting a little chance to talk championship standings coming into today, as that's going to be as very, very aggressive as they go, because Yellow Vision is currently on top over 240 points, going currently in second. So those two are the big two keys to keep an eye out on here tonight. But we are going to take our first opportunity to go and grab a couple of creators on in, because hello, B-Roy out there. We've known how much of an effort it has been over the course of this season, but we're extending ourselves out right now to 16th Street and Georgetown Road. A happy hunting ground for you potentially tonight, or are you feeling that this one is one where you're just looking to try and build yourself a little shelter to hunker down in?
I got to build a little bit of confidence over the last couple of weeks. We haven't had the best luck. Also, hello, by the way. Very nice to see you guys. Yeah, it's been a really rough season ever since that Charlotte win. You know, Indianapolis, I feel like, is a good course for me, both in officials and just in general. I mean, it's so technical. It's so one step out and it's game over, and that's kind of the racing I like. Usually I'm on the end that ends in the wall, but you know, maybe tonight be a little different. Maybe we err on the side of caution, or maybe we go for it. Only time's gonna tell.
Yeah, B-Roy, it's been a tale of two seasons for you, it feels like. I mean, you mentioned the win at Charlotte, but held the points lead for a couple of weeks and then had a little bit of a slump over that mid-season stretch. How do you feel about your chances tonight as we kind of return to more of that high-speed oval racing?
I feel good. Like I said, Indianapolis, I think, is one of my better tracks. I think it tailors. It's definitely no Charlotte like I'm used to with a mile and a half, but it definitely tailors to my ability to be able to drive single groove or multi-groove tracks, being able to find where that air is and just being able to just find lines that people can't. And that's kind of the style of racing I really like. Obviously, the last couple of rounds that we went to, the road courses have been excellent products. The short tracks have been good, but Indianapolis, I feel like, could be a really good bounce back. And you know, there's a couple more races left to go this season. Hopefully, Indianapolis is the start of something, a generational comeback. Let's say. I miss that points lead dearly. I can't believe you brought that up. It hurts my soul just thinking about it.
I had to rub it in a little.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Well, I gotta take it on the chin.
Let's talk about the difficulties of this circuit, because you've got this diamond cut groove that comes across it, and it's something where you don't get a natural flow with, because of the fact that you got 4 square turns rather than the natural oval bank that you go around. Do you think this is going to be a little bit more of a tire preserver here, this run here at the Brickyard?
Yes and no. It depends how the cautions fall and how people take to the dirty air, like I've been saying. That's the big thing with these next gen cars, is dirty air, and how you can kind of avoid being behind somebody. If you can find a little bit of air to just give yourself a little bit more turn, the more that you're packed into dirty air with somebody, the more tire you use. And especially, like you said, with this track being super diamond groove, as I hit the wall, it's going to be a tire burner today. Like, just in the 4 laps of practice that I've done already, I've already burned almost 7-8% on my right front, right rear. So it's definitely going to be a case of tire strategy. It's also going to be a case of, can you keep your car out of the wall? Because all it takes around here is one wall hit out of turn 2 or turn 4, and your race is over. So I definitely think tires are going to be very important tonight. It's just a matter of it's just a matter of survival tonight. It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the adversity, right? It's 100 laps here at a track like Indianapolis, but it seems like that's been kind of the tail of the season as well. You know, looking back at North Wilkesboro last week, obviously attrition came into that race a good bit. So how do you kind of weather the pack and manage your way through to get 100 clean laps to hopefully be in position to win this thing?
Right. No, but in all seriousness, there's 2 kind of strategies going in my head. Either I kind of play the long game, like what I did in the Indy 500 earlier in this year, and just kind of ride in the back, bide my time, and then towards the end of the race kind of build my way back up, or go for it early and just play for that clean air. But either way, I just want to be there at the end of the night. Like I said, like you said, it's been a 2-faced season with a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and I just need something to go my way tonight. If Indianapolis can be the start of something special, I'm all here for it.
Well, we just got word that a new server's gone up that everyone's jumping into, so I think you're going to have to move PDQ. B-Roy then joining us and having a wonderful time out there and hoping for a good performance here today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's get on very quickly then to a man who's no stranger to claiming a corner. He's got 4 choices of it, does Josh's corner at this moment in time. Josh, how are we feeling now going in? I know there's been a little bit of a short prep here tonight to get everybody ready. Do you think that's going to have more people on their toes, or do you think that it suits you right now being a little bit fresher, jumping in, getting ready tonight? Josh, I believe we've got your mic muted. There you go, bud.
I think everyone's going to be slightly apprehensive because, we've not had much practice. I think the pit entry's a little easier this time. Obviously, it's not right after the final corner. People might get stuck with turns 1 and 4 because they're a little harsher in their angle as well if they're not used to it. This certainly isn't an oval. You do have to apply a bit of brake. I am blipping and downshifting for 2 of the corners. I think it might catch people out tonight, but we have a lot of experienced oval drivers on the grid, so knowing them lot, they'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are kind of worrying how that long run is going to look. But how about what's guaranteed here? I mean, how do you feel about the restarts where everybody's going to be packed up together? I mean, do you feel like you got to capitalize and be aggressive on those early stints to try to gain track position? Or do you think it's more so just of settling in and getting into the run?
I mean, from my experience watching Indianapolis, it's been a case of everyone's packed up for a long time, and then there seems to be a lot of movement towards the end. I'm not really an oval expert, but I've found from my viewing experience with Indianapolis in the past that it tends to heat up towards the end. I think people will settle in for the first 2/3 of this race. That being said, it is Creator Series, so I imagine there'll be a number of cautions, probably a couple of big ones, so anything could happen, really.
And that unpredictability factor has been a lot of what we have seen this season, that, you know, we don't know what the story of the race is going to tell quite often until the final stages roll into play. So are you looking at that in sort of trying to get a sense of how this season has gone, that it's about buying your ticket to the end of the race and saying, well, how good's my seat in the coach house?
Well, absolutely. I'm not an experienced oval driver. You have people like Yellowvision on the grid. There's numerous really experienced oval drivers who race this season. I'm not. So my aim is always survival. There's always guaranteed big ones in these. My aim is just to finish. The next gen car isn't really my forte, but once you get settled in, once you find a groove, things can happen. If you just sort of settle back, let the kind of race unfold in front of you, and try and stay out of trouble, magic can happen. So I'm hoping that happens this evening, but we'll have to see.
Well, we're going to say this one very quickly for you, Josh. We wish you the best of luck as far as things go tonight, and hopefully it lands the way that you need to. Josh's Corner, then hoping for a very, very good run. And lightning fast here, Caleb. We've also got Ancephallosis here, the Season 3 champion, here along with us to have a little bit of a look. We'll just jump in for the moment here with Ancephallosis. Ancephallosis, how are we feeling tonight? Is this going to be a happy hunting ground? Is this one where you're just trying to remember the wiles of that win in the or with Resco in the IndyCar and the GT3, going, Indianapolis, it's something that can tie me back to what happened last season?
Yeah, that's right. Well, physically I'll be on Indianapolis racing today. I think mentally, I'll be imagining myself on the beach with champagne, still the victor from last season. I'm definitely scared for today. Part of me wants to say, like, oh, it's a speedway. This is my strength on ovals. This is where I have a chance. But it's not quite a super speedway. There is braking involved, and it blows my mind every time. It really says a lot, I think, to the true intricacy of oval racing that your average sim racer or your average non-racer just doesn't see. Because again, you would think, oh, it's a speedway. You're basically flat out for 98% of the drive, and you're just turning left. How hard could it be? Yet you look at me, you look at Yellowvision, and there's a 2-second gap. Not to call myself out, but like, man, it's really impressive what some of these guys can do with what seems like a simple setup for a drive and for a car, but they can really extract so much speed out of the car. So I'm a bit nervous, but I do think it'll be fun. We'll probably see a few big ones, and I'll do my best to avoid and survive. But I'm a little afraid, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, how do you adapt tonight? I mean, Indianapolis is a really unique track that we get to come to, but not alike really anything else we've had on the calendar. So how do you get into a groove quick and really find that for 100 laps here tonight?
I'm going to try my best. I don't know about finding a groove quickly. If anything, I'll be looking to find my groove steadily over the course of the race. I guess quickly might be a better strategy, but I know we've got a decent amount of racing, and I can pretty much count on there being a few safety cars. So I know I'll, if I make a mistake or two, have a chance to come back. But you're right, I probably should work on finding that pace and making sure I'm ready for that last shootout, because at some point the safety cars are going to wind down, and it's going to be time to really shoot for that final checkered flag. Yeah, I'll just have to kind of adapt to others and watch their lines. You're right in saying it's a very unique track. Can we call it an oval? It's kind of a rounded rectangle. Again, it's almost wants to be a super speedway, but the corners are just a little sharp. So that little bit of braking is what's going to be causing me headache. So yeah, I guess I'll try to follow some of the faster drivers. There's plenty of them out there, and maybe copy off their homework a little bit.
It's even in the shape of a brick, isn't it? Well, Ancephalosis, best
right.
of luck out there as we're just about to switch over to our race session out there and joining through very quickly. Let's take a look at your top 10 in the standings as we will get ourselves over to running. Yellow Vision has the control on 242 points, going there at 223, just 19 back, and Reska Kyoso and Lith Fox, the VTuber duo, at 215 and 206, making themselves known. I am Dino in 5th, B-Roy in 6th, just a point clear of Charles Wimbley, with the motorsports enthusiast Zach Mertes and Presley Sora, then 9th and 10th, as they look to get themselves lined up and ready for running here. Let's now run through the grid, because we've got them all on lined up and they want to be running. And as they go, we go reverse championship order. So Sloppy Joe and Josh's Corner will house themselves on that front row, giving themselves everything they possibly can. Funky T-Bone will start in 3rd with Grand Pooh Bear, the speed runner, there in 4th position. Solstice representing the Netherlands. They've been good here through Arie Luijendijk, for example, in the past. 5th for Solstice, Greedy Me, then going from P number 6, as it will then be Ancephalosis in 7th and MGAGs Racing, who make up your front 4 rows. Auburn Kyle is inside of 5, with Presley Sora then making up your top 10, which leads over to the motorsports enthusiast and B-Roy. They're going from 12th position outside row 6. Row 7 will be your VTuber duo of Lith Fox and Reska Kyoso. What will they be able to do as the shake and bake duo, as you've got going there from Canada 15th, and your championship leader Yellow Vision there in the 171 in that 16th position. Then you've got your part-timers out there, those who aren't on a full-time schedule. Adam Nunez is one of them in 17th, and then Zach Mertes in 18th. You've then got Charles Wimbley and I Am Dino, then 19th and 20th, leaving just your unsafety car, which is piloted by the Stag, and some may prophesize that the Stag today was very hungry, and he's decided that he's wanted to build his own lime kiln at home so he can start firing off as many bricks as he can. Pace Truck out there and getting themselves ready. Reduced field of 20 though, Caleb. Now, does that play a bigger factor when we are used to talking about NASCAR in the sense of having 40-plus car grids out there each and every single week? Does that limit the damage, or do you think that it puts more emphasis on precision?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different for sure, right? I mean, I think the biggest thing that these guys are really going to notice is down the straightaway, that slipstream, you're going to have a lot more room for moves. You're not going to have to worry about 40-plus cars around you. You only got that field of 20, so a little bit more space on this racetrack, I think, for you to have flexibility, especially down those straightaways. Try to build runs for the end of the straights and set yourself up for those passes in the corners.
Well, my next question here for the motorsports enthusiast is it a capital V, and will he have to pay royalties over to Ohio State University?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's got a sick setup here too. I love the Jeff Gordon shirt. Obviously, Jeff Gordon with a storied history here. I believe it's 5 wins or something like that at the Brickyard, but has got the good mojo going on in car number 24, rolling off from the 11th spot here tonight.
So he's someone who thinks, okay, I can definitely get myself up the order and I can land it exactly where you need to. We've got drivers here of varying different elements. Speaking of the college element, Auburn Kyle represented the University of Auburn in the eNASCAR College Series out there. So someone who is definitely no stranger to racing in strong fields. We've got drivers up and down the order of various levels, but ultimately it's just 70 laps that they will have to navigate through over the course of racing action today. So they've got to get up to speed quickly, and they've got to know, and they've got to apply that opportunity that says, I can go out there and do it. Before we head ourselves over to the green here, Caleb, what are you expecting here over the first 15 to 20 laps or so?
Again, it's been a battle of attrition all season long. I'm really expecting that to continue tonight, but it sounds like a lot of these drivers are ready to settle in. It's 100 laps, so we have plenty of time to figure out what the tempo, what the pace of this race is going to be, but I would expect these first 2 or 3 laps especially, really aggressive moves and trying to slot yourself up well for that long run, hopefully, but we got a good one with 21 cars rolling off the grid here.
Yeah, we certainly do. They've got 2 hours and 50 minutes to house the 70 laps that they have available to them. Pace truck will dive over to the left-hand side, and we're about to get ourselves ready. Sloppy Joe with control of the field as we're about to get ourselves ready on what is a very dusty circuit to start things off. Green flag in the air, and obviously there's a lot of brick dust that has come off of the yard as they look to get themselves up to speed. We're underway here at Indianapolis. Nice fanning out, some 2 wides then, and even some 3 wides as Yellow Vision looks to go down to the bottom early and start making some moves here. A lot of room then being given. Trouble in the back is immediately going to put a bit of trouble in, and it's Goen who ends up on the wrong side of it and shuffled to dead last.
Yeah, and that's already some championship implications for Goen, who ran into trouble last week at North Wilkesboro as well, but he's trying to cut into this deficit to Yellow Vision in the last couple of rounds, so needs a strong run tonight. Meanwhile, looking almost 4 wide for a minute on the front straightaway, and Yellow Vision's going to get turned.
Not a day to be a title contender or leader. Yellow Vision is backwards in the barriers there, but ultimately no yellows call out because we're running manual out there. So ultimately it's going to have to rely on an unsafety car to come out, and there's troubles for Solstice now, sliding back up on circuit. Here was the initial contact, just on the wrong side. It's just a little too aggressive there in the middle of the line, nowhere to go.
And that's huge already for our 2 championship leaders. Reska Kioso, our 3rd place driver, was involved in that contact with Yellow Vision. So all 3 of our top championship contenders with trouble already. Meanwhile, down the front straightaway right now, you see B-Roy looking inside 3 wide, trying to get 3 spots in 1.
He needs to start running, and he's working there. Greedy Me on the outside. He's already cleared Presley. Sora wants another here through the short shoot run into turn 2. 4 corners that on paper look exactly the same, but in practice all completely different as it tilts slightly this circuit top to bottom, and you look to get everything that you can from it. Sloppy Joe, by the way, 2 seconds down the road. Grand Pooh Bear is the one then trying to chase on down with Josh's corner and the like, who are just desperately trying to say, look, we've got to play keep up, but B-Roy is on the charge, on board with Lithium Fox. It's a Hornet's Nest, and Lith goes sideways, save the line going through as we look at B-Roy's eyes on it, having a happy time of things at the moment, but Lith Fox getting dropped back on what is a very, very busy pack.
And again, already these guys finding themselves in somewhat of a groove right now. You can see starting to get a little more single file spread out at the front half of this field, but the back half still all over each other right now as they work to negotiate this space. Gags flipped the grass, it looks like a little bit, lost some momentum. That's going to open the door for Charles Wembley here on the inside, and he's going to bring Dino along with him, who's going to peek all the way inside 3 wide, but not going to go for the pass here. Let Wembley and T-Bone figure it out. Wembley with the preferred line almost gets clear going into turn number 4.
No, but doesn't quite, but then falls back into what is now single groove, and it's clear that if you're on the wrong side of the groove, you're not going to get the run. So Dino's going to get clear, trying now a bunch of T-Bone. Gets a bit of help there from Charles Wembley, trying to go again. Another one up the line, past Greedy Me into turn 1 past the yard of bricks as they look to try and figure it out. Lap 5 here they are on now here on 70s. We're on time at the moment, 2 hours 46 minutes to go get this done as the motorsports enthusiast sets the fastest lap of the race. And clear now here is Leroy to attack P3 now here against Graham Poubert, the nice Red Bull car out there, very much akin more to Shane Van Gisbergen moving into NASCAR. Right now it's a case of what can Leroy find with Presley Sora, Charles Wimbley and the like all there, and a big shuffle wiggle then sees Graham Poubert drop a ton of speed.
Yeah, Graham Poubert just misjudged that angle, got a little bit loose on that inside line, and is going to lose a lot of spots here, almost outside of the top 10 from that one slip up alone. You can see I Am Dino, MGAGs Racing getting by on the inside there, but that's opened the door for B-Roy, Presley Sora, and Charles Wimbley to get on by. It's a little bit of contact with Dino now, but they're going to sort that out, and now Poubert looks to the inside of Greedy Me.
I Am Dino had to really hold on to it to try and get, and look at the cutting up it's doing behind here, because Going is on the charge back. Where's Going come from all of a sudden? Look at the pace he's there with the likes of the motorsport enthusiast going to the outside. He was dead last after the opening lap, and now look at him back up looking for a top 10. That is what we call motoring.
Meanwhile, things heating up for second as Presley Sora has peeked to the inside of B-Roy, who is really trying to fend him off. Presley Sora, though, going to have a huge run down this straightaway and going to have the preferred line into turn number 1. Meanwhile, B-Roy hits that outside wall. He's on the access road.
Something's gone wrong with the wheel by the looks of things there, if that's the case, because that is certainly not what the Sim Gaming Expo car would have wanted to deal with. It just hooked hard right into the wall out of nowhere, and you will see with the reaction of the steering wheel, if we can get an onboard of this one, Gareth, it's a case here, Caleb, of wheel disconnect. It's going to turn full rotation lock one way.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. There was no contact or anything like that, and that car just took a nosedive into the outside wall. And for B-Roy, who mentioned pre-race when we talked to him about his misfortune this season, is going to come up with another one here at Indianapolis, and a pivotal round for him as he continues to try to chase that championship fight. Meanwhile, up at the front, things are still hot for second. Presley Sora here with...
for third.
Third, yeah, excuse me. Trying to hold off Charles Wimbley.
Look at the gap at the front here, Caleb. 5 seconds.
That's why I called it second, is Sloppy Joe's in his own zip code up in first. Don't even see him up on the racetrack right now. So these guys have a lot of ground to make up, but Wimbley peeking down to the inside of car 98, gonna have just a slight run on him, but this is where that advantage is gonna show its head, as he has the preferred line going into turn number 3. Presley Sora is gonna just fall into line. Now, one of the things you are gonna be able to see tonight is if you're on the outside in either turn 1 or turn 3, if you play it just right, you're gonna be able to get that crossover. Presley Sora was not, though, and is gonna make pretty hard contact with that outside wall and cough up fourth to Greedy Me as well.
Greedy Me says, I don't mind being greedy at all. I will absolutely take that and then some as it goes. Auburn Kyle sees I Am Dino then back through and starting to run back up the table as well. You've got the motorsports enthusiast going, Zach Mertis, and then also trying to make waves up the order. Reska Kyoso back there chasing Zach Mertis then, who's trying to shake off with the Serpentine out there at this point, and so is really trying to find any way possible to go and make this happen. Lap 9 here of this race, and it's going to go quickly. A little bit of head lean there for Reska Kyoso at the moment, just trying to work on through. He knows exactly what he needs to do, has been there, done that, written the book, won a title here in Creator Series, looking to go back to back.
Yeah, no, and it's just a crawl through the field right now for all these championship contenders. Going right now in 10th, Reska Kyoso in that 12th spot. Not as much success right now for Yellow Vision, who's still all the way back in 18th after that a spin in the opening sequence of things. So one of those drivers that's really hoping for a caution period at some point to try to even the odds just a little bit. But meanwhile, look at Charles Wimbley here with Josh's corner now for second, going to be able to complete that pass in a lot of pace that we've seen so far out of car number 36, all the way up from the 19th position where he rolled off the grid, now finds himself second after only 10 laps here at Indianapolis.
Yeah, really, really pushing hard, and he's done that work from that 19th place and said, right, I'll dispatch a 17, and now my job is to get this group to reel down 6 seconds. Also, I am Dino making great progress, but look at now how it's going to really be usurped. First time we've really seen today Josh's corner have to work with dirty air in front, getting loose on the front and realizing, okay, well, I'm just going to plow through the corners right now. We might as well be on Clarkson's farm.
Oh, and again, another big overtake here down to the inside. The straightaways have been incredibly active right now. That draft has been uber important so far through the first 10 laps. And Josh's corner, MGAG's Racing still side by side through 3 and 4 here. I think MGAG's is going to be able to just clear Josh's corner up on that outside, who has to get out of the throttle. That opens the door for Dino, who's going to go all the way to the inside.
Well, Dino goes a mile, lots of smoke there down at the final stages. Solstice laps down, and currently is looking around at this going, okay, what more do I need to do? Because it doesn't matter if you go a lap down under the unsafe car conditions, you will get all your laps back. It's a super lucky dog for every driver out there, and you've got to be careful when you're tipping it in. They're being aggressive with how much they turn in. The longer that they go on a set of tyres here, Caleb, the less that they'll be able to dip those 2 tyres underneath the apron at corners like turn 2.
Yeah, and the biggest thing with the tire wear at a track like Indianapolis here, not so much in terms of pure lap time that you're going to be bleeding off, but just less give. That's going to make these cars a lot more unforgiving, whether or not you smack the wall or something of the like you say, dip into the grass. So going to have to be at the forefront of these drivers' minds is conserving that as much as possible throughout the length and duration of a run. And again, Gowen's not really worried about the tire wear right now from what it looks like. A big move down to the inside, almost clips the left side of Josh's corner in that 99. Really aggressive move, and might even cost him a little bit with Zach Mertis peeking down to the inside.
You could say he nearly clipped Josh's corner's corner out there as he tried to work Resker on the right side, and just behind that, Lithium Fox after the spin, starting to get it back, working the right way again, looking high side. Then through turn number 3, but Josh's corner has stopped the slide, has found a way to get that to work, and for the moment, Lift working hard then into turn 4 and realising with Zach Mertis there on the inside, I've just got to follow the driver who's directly ahead of me in the championship, my good friend Resker Kyoso. This is what Lithium Fox is hoping to try and get at this moment in time. Find someone to follow and then just hope that it will work between now and the end, because it's clear that this is going to be about hold your nerve, hold your ground and give yourself that platform. And I think that's what we're seeing. Drivers who have made mistakes in the opening 5 laps, finding ways to go and get it back again.
Yeah, I mean, the old adage always holds true, right? That you can't win the race on lap 14, but you can certainly lose it. And that rings true for these drivers, again, who have already had some adversity throughout the opening sequence of this event so far. But again, really good rebound and really good recovery so far from Gowen, Resker Kyoso, Lith Fox in this 10th through 12th little pack right here. And they're going to just continue to ascend all night long. Meanwhile, it's drama-free for the most part up at the front. You can see Auburn Kyle going for a pass with MGAG's Racing here for the 7th position.
So they're going to keep on working hard here. Lap 15 of this race, really trying to uncork as much as they can here on this sprint-style run that they have. They're all now starting to form these packs, including that little group of 3 there that we see at the back of Ancephalos's Adam Nunez and B-Roy. They're going to have to work hard here to catch the next train. And if you get distance, it's so hard to try and get it back with how important the punch of the draft is going to be. They're setting themselves up right now behind Auburn Kyle here with MGAG's Josh's corner going, Resker, Lynn, Zach Mertis. They're all there, they're all working hard. Gap is coming down slowly at the front. It's now down to 5 seconds as it is now starting to extend at the moment here as they work. Resker Kyoso looking at going Chevrolet, thinking, you know what can I do? Chevy, Camry, Chevy is the way it looks, all behind a Mustang and another Camry.
Yeah, and the biggest focus, I think, for these drivers right now, you're not going to see as much side-by-side racing as we've gotten settled in here 16 laps into the run since the drop of the green flag. But like you mentioned, everybody splinters off into their own packs here. So if you're going Oreska Kioso, do you want to lose the time by going side by side and attempting passes on one another? Or do you want to sit in line, try to work together and make up as much of that time as possible and give all of you that chance to make up spots and make up time? So something to consider for these drivers right now. Goen attempted a pass on Josh's corner there in turn number 3, but is going to lose a little bit of time because of it. Got tight down there on the inside trying to make that work. Couldn't complete the pass, and will stay right in that 10th spot for right now.
Here's the awkward thing right now at the front of the field that I just want to note here for Sloppy Joe as Charles Wimbley is closing in 0.4 of a second a lap. Sloppy Joe has 2 cars directly in front of lap traffic in Solstice and Grand Pooh Bear who are working together. If Sloppy Joe can get to that group, he can start using that as a way to push on forward, and I think that's what he's trying to do. The only issue with that, though, is they're running half a second slower than him, so a second slower than Charles Wimbley, who's chasing down.
Yeah, I mean, Wimbley's been cutting into that deficit already up at the top spot. But again, if you're Sloppy Joe here, do you need the lead right now? I mean, obviously you want to pad that gap as much as possible, but I think a lot more value is to be gained by just sitting in some of that slipstream, letting them drag you across this racetrack for right now. You can put less strain on the tires for if that gap gets cut, but the other important part is you're saving a lot of fuel by doing that.
You absolutely are, and that's going to be key. Contact off the exit, Lithfox and Josh's corner, and now, there's going to be arguments on the straight, and so I think they are going to really now be looking around. Zach Mertes getting the chrome horn out, saying, look, I'm going to want to push my way through. I don't care if you batter me on the side, the front, the rear, and look at that, door banging in through the short chute run to turn 4. They are really getting elbows out. We could be 3 wide along to the yard of bricks, which we are.
And you're going to have to be careful here going down into turn 1, but you're 3 wide. Indianapolis does not have room for all that. Litfox going to hold strong on the inside. It's going to be Zach Mertes who's going to drop out of it, get out of the throttle. And now trying to get to the inside of Josh's corner. Litfox is there and is going to be able to complete the pass off turn number 2. But now you have to bridge that gap back to 10th place Oreska Kioso. 1.3 seconds up the road, not much draft to be had, and potentially have now lost touch to the top 10.
They're all so busy at trying to make moves that they haven't really seen too much of the super speedway style. Look at the bump draft. Sloppy Joe, though, out of fuel at 19 laps is going to be your first taker down in for a green flag pit stop. So we've already reached the stage of we're going to come in, and this is maybe a little bit of a reverse strategy here. We normally talk about, if you pit in at 20 laps, you do the reverse strategy when you're doing Indy 500 stuff.
Yeah, this is interesting timing on this first pit stop right now. Again, you mentioned 70 laps, so really, again, I think an interesting spot at where you put yourself for the entire distance of this race. You think in 20 lap stints, you'd be going 20, 40, 60, 10, like another 10. So we'll see how this works out for Sloppy Joe, but I definitely would try to get a little more out of it if you can.
I wonder whether it's just a case of I've used a lot of the tyre in 20, 30, 30. Might be the way that we're looking at. Depends on fuel level, of course, that they're going to be working with. So Charles Wimbley now takes his first laps led at the front of the field. Presley Sora has followed along. I am Dino trying to keep in range, but 2/10 slower over the last lap, and an oval really as we get the likes of Mertes and Josh's corner still working hard there, running up the groove there at 1, pushing it right up against the wall. Josh's corner there, heading in towards turn 2. We're seeing quite a bit of this being a case of, okay, we're seeing tenths here. We don't often get to see tenths on an oval be a big difference, and is that just the uniqueness of Indianapolis forcing braking zones?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is one of those unique tracks that all of NASCAR really sees, but nowhere else, I mean, other than really I would think of Pocono, which is literally has corners based from this racing facility, that you see such high speeds with combined with those intense braking zones at the end of the straight. So certainly those passing opportunities, they are there, but it is a lot different than that traditional NASCAR sense of style that you see. Meanwhile, I Am Dino, you saw on the pit lane right there with the motorsports enthusiasts, the next two to really open up this pit cycle.
Oh, and Adam Nunez, a penalty speeding onto the lane, is going to have to stay in the box a lot longer than is wanted, and that is the cardinal sin when trying to slow it down. Replay, got it all wadded up and went a mile too deep. And
really, these pit cycles are going to be some of the most important execution bits that we see of this race tonight. You can absolutely lose a lot of time on pit lane, not even with a black flag like we've seen from Adam Nunez. Now you see going onto the pit lane. But even just the smallest of deficits all add up. I mean, if you lose, 4 or 5 tenths on the pit lane, that can be the difference between you losing the draft to the car in front of you or not. So all of those little choices and errors add up, and absolutely something that these drivers are going to have to stay on top of here as we quickly approach the first full fuel cycle.
Dare I say it, Caleb, a fuel save race in my Creator Series.
Yeah, no, never would have thought, huh?
Well, it's full of shocks and surprises, this at the moment, isn't it? The way that this race just continues to work differently. Reska Kyoso sitting patiently on the back. In comes Auburn Kyle then to take service and absolutely burn through and get a speeding penalty. And this is what drivers will get caught out with. There's a difference, Caleb, between NASCAR pit cone and IndyCar pit cone. IndyCar pit cones inside past the attenuator and through. NASCAR pit cone, you got to be slowed up before you even get through.
Yeah, no, getting to that magic mark right before you get to that commitment cone is the most important thing here at Indianapolis and really everywhere. But getting down to that pit speed limit of 55 miles per hour when you're, going 160 off of turn number 4, it's a big stressor on those brakes for sure. And again, really easy to lock it up, flat spot your tires, and really got to be aware and be ready for when you make that move onto the pit lane.
Now, here's the flip side of when you get yourself a fresh set of tyres or not. Go in here a lap down after the pit stop, but critically, that's Charles Wimbley directly in front. And so now go in here on the fresh tyres compared to Charles Wimbley, we'll be looking at unlapping.
And again, I'll be interested to see how aggressive Goen is at getting this lap back, or if he is going to just try to sit in the draft. But you see going down to the inside right now. We'll get right on clear. You can really see that tire difference there in the middle of the corner. Charles Wimbley on that outside is able to keep the momentum wound up just a little more, but no chance for car number 36 on that inside. Yeah, he's going into the pit lane, and Presley Sora is going to come down with them. And a little bit of contact between he and Pooh Bear.
Graham Poubert, who's laps down at the moment in this race, just wasn't expecting it and goes launching through. And guess what? It's given Presley Sora a black flag for speeding.
We'll see if that comes under debate at all. But yeah, Graham Poubert just flies in, and Presley Sora going to have those black flags cleared. Obviously, you see the contact was the cause of it. So not going to have to serve that penalty, but a costly mistake there for Graham Poubert on that pit entry.
M. Gags and Zach Mertis, though, get speeding penalties, and they're going to be locked up in with it and having to wait a lot longer here to make that happen. So these pit stop cycles making a huge amount of difference as far as it goes. Staying out the longest, though, onto a 26th lap, Reska Kyoso and Lithium Fox. Lithium Fox in at 26. I think's 1 lap shy. I look at this, 27 laps from Reska Kyoso. Firm 2-stop territory.
Yeah, no, this is what I was saying. My strategy certainly I would try to do here. But obviously, I feel like the math works out a lot more in your favor if you can push it over that lap 25 territory. Then you're looking at a 20, 50, 75 type of split, which obviously, you wouldn't have to do anything at 75. You'd be good at the end. So I really like this from Reska Kyoso, just trying to press this out as much as possible. And again, just keep this gap up right now, about a 30-second deficit back to Sloppy Joe. So obviously Sloppy going to cycle back out to the lead once all those stops are made, which Kyoso is going to be coming in now off of turn number 4.
Yeah, so good chance then for him to start making that stop. B-Roy, of course, as well on the 2-stop window is also going to follow on in. Both hit their marks well, which should now leave Funky T-Bone to come in and get service sorted. Slow through for trying to get that one wadded down. A clear sign there of where is the pit commitment cone and how slow do I need to be in order to make it?
And a really clean stop for those last 3 leaders. I think some of the unintended benefit of staying out that long as well is you don't have the uncontrolled variable of other cars around you to worry about in the case of what we saw there with everybody on pit lane a little bit earlier in that sequence. But really clean stops and not a lot of time that they've bled. So cycles back out now to Sloppy Joe. I am Dino. Charles Wembley, who you ride on board with, is trying to scope out that second position, but riding firmly in the 3rd spot, car number 36.
Tell you what, that aggro strat here from Sloppy Joe's giving him a couple seconds, burning through the tyre. He'll pay it back now. I am Dino has got the jump on Charles Wembley at this moment in time, but Wembley will have some very fresh tyres. And I am actually, as we take a look over to Yellow Vision, championship leader still going, but all the way down right now in P13. As far as, P16, I would say at this moment, was 13 over the line last time, so actually P12 at this stage in time. I would certainly be turning around and saying, right, this is not what you wanted. You are relying on an unsafety car to bring you back into play, but it has spread out. You're relying on the leaders basically tangling it about at the moment.
Yeah, and for Yellow Vision, this was what happened, very similar case at North Wilkesboro last week where, you know, Goen was having such a good day all day long, and Yellow Vision was kind of watching that points lead slip away, but had a reversal of fortune at the very end of that race with some contact with Sloppy Joe, and Yellow Vision was able to come out on top in that battle and actually spread that gap a little bit more over Goen. So similar case here with Goen running in that 6th spot. Yellow Vision back in 12th right now, hoping for a similar reversal of fortune this week at Indianapolis that he got at North Wilkesboro Speedway last week.
A reverse of fate would be certainly very, very good for that to work for the likes then of going to move on up and say there is more out there for me. But at least at this moment in time, I think we are really getting an understanding of who's got what and who's not got what, because the gaps have formed into their own respective packs. A little bit slow right now as Presley Sora just trying to lift it off into the corner here as the unsafety car gets called out, and this one is for Debris.
And unsafety car is deployed and it will take the field coming out in the access road.
Presley Sora taking a good hard look at it there, and I don't know about him, but I think he's trying to stay awake.
And we'll let everybody get on by here. Sloppy Joe will be able to catch the unsafety car on the back straightaway here, but obviously he was the one that really didn't want to see this unsafety car, as he had about a 7-second lead to pad for that entire run. But gonna have everybody group back up together now, and that is what Yellow Vision needed. We were just talking about kind of his hopes trying to look back up, and has gotten a timely unsafety car here, just shy of the halfway point of this race.
Caleb, there's one key word that you just said in that last sentence, and it's the word had.
Yeah.
Had a lead, now doesn't have it.
It's over. I got the entire field to worry about. Gonna have a chance to come back down though, and
they're all in.
Really? Yeah, this is an interesting spot for this unsafety car. I mean, math not mathing in my head.
I put this right now as everybody has come in looking for fuel and tires, And Ancephalosis is going to stay out and take the race lead.
That's certainly interesting from car number 43, but I mean, no, I agree for sure. You come down, you get 4 tires and fuel every single time if you want a fighting chance on this restart.
Oh, look at this on the exit. They're almost inside each other here. I Am Dino and the Motorsport Enthusiast. It's going to be very close off the exit. Sloppy Joe remains ahead. The Motorsport Enthusiast, then I Am Dino, Wimbley, Presley Tora going back there, and then Reska Kyoso, Lithium Fox, Greedy Me. So that was a very close fought fight, and Zach Mertes has spun under unsafety car.
I don't even know how that's possible here. He's made pretty significant contact as well. I think just was trying to get that lap back and made, again, significant contact with that outside wall. So trouble for Zach Mertes in car number 102, who now is joining the pit lane.
And I think part of that, Caleb, is the fact that when you are in this unlapping process, you are still at full speeds. We take a look at Yellow Vision there in the yellow hoodie with the lovely cabinet there behind, which is not yellow, but is a lovely oak that is there and in full display. But when you're going full speed as a car that is trying to gain laps back and still has to run at full speed, you often go and switch off. And as Gareth loves to point out with people who have stuff behind, apparently it's full of tat.
Yeah, no, Yellow Vision every week brings the name to life with that hoodie. I'm still impressed at how just vibrant of a yellow that is. But, you know, for Yellow Vision right now, again, you mentioned how impactful this caution flag is for him. Obviously did not get the greatest outcome on that initial start, getting spun after the contact with Reska Kyoso. So a new lease on life with car number 171 here. Really, I mean, this shakes things up throughout the entire field, not just with Yellow Vision, but obviously now Sloppy Joe, who had such a big lead, going to have to start from the 4th spot. But, you know, for the first time today, going to have some dirty air on that nose, some traffic that he's going to have to navigate through.
Let me ask you this question then. With as yellow of a hoodie as is there for Yellow Vision, how quickly do you think he could get a contract with the Savannah Bananas?
Yeah, the Savannah Bananas, we were mentioning last week to him. I mean, even, you know, if he had his partner in crime over there at all. But I think for sure he could put in an application. I mean, get a big old banana on the side of the car, get some script on. Oh, B-Roy with another wheel malfunction, it looks like.
It's exactly the same. The wheel has gone hard over to the left-hand side, just completely snapped on in again. B-Roy right now, I think, is going to be looking at this, well, as he's now going to be, we get it, B-Roy, you vape, but at this point, he's going to be looking around, trying to disconnect, reconnect the wheel right now. I think he's going to have to get the soldering iron out.
Yeah, again, I don't know if it's just a faulty connection or what, but more misfortune for car number 54 in a time and a place that he did not need this in Indianapolis. Again, we talked about how important of a race this was for him at the top of the show with where he was in points. And again, it's just...
Here's an interesting one for Zach Mertes that we've got updated with us here in our YouTube chat here, which is throttle pedal died before the race, driving with clutch pedal and left foot.
What?
So obviously doesn't have the throttle pedal anymore. That's broken. So he's now using the brake and the clutch as his throttle and his brake.
I would be really interested if he's just using, like, is he just using the clutch as the throttle, or has he mapped his brake to the clutch? And if so, I mean, so many questions that get brought up with that, because, you know, do you have a load cell brake pedal, for example, and how hard it would be to get throttle input out of that consistently? I'm not sure, but kind of explains some of the mishaps that we've seen with car number 102. So another one in that camp of just some misfortune that we've seen early on here. You know, along with B-Roy, but 20 cars started this race, 20 cars still out there and again, I think we have a really solid chance of seeing some exciting stuff on this restart. But then, again, do you think they fall into that single file kind of cadence that we saw in the first run? Or do you think with being a little closer to the checkered flag here that these guys stay a little more aggressive throughout the duration of this run?
Keep an eye on the unsafety car first and foremost, see if there's anything dramatic here with this as far as the restart will go. Running by the yard of bricks. Normally it has a dramatic exit, does the unsafety car, from all of these runs, and ultimately through the opening corners. The answer to that is no, we do not see that for the moment. We work through then in towards turn number 4, where it is the control of the field right now with Ancephallosis, the 3 who did not pit. Ancephallosis, Josh's Corner, and Funky T-Bone looking to try and hold out as they get this restart going once again. Green flag back in the air from IMS.
Really even start between the 2 leaders of Ancephallosis. Josh's Corner is going to have a little bit of an advantage going into turn 1. Going to get out of the throttle, and that's going to let T-Bone go up looking 3 wide. Can't quite do it, though. Sloppy Joe right back in this battle. Going to peek down to the inside, 3 wide off of turn number 2 for the lead.
Tried to shut the door, it's not there, and out into the wall on the outside is going to go Josh's Corner. It's to the lead there for Sloppy Joe, and now here comes the charge from everyone around trying to find a lane. 2 and 3s and hitting the brakes, and something's going to have to give, and it's a big one for the motorsports enthusiast along with Funky T-Bone there. That's a big old accident that continues on, surely an unsafety car.
Got to imagine B-Roy's in it, Zach Murtis is in it, Adam Nunez is in it. Funky T-Bone all with lasting damage. No unsafety car has been deployed from it, though.
No, they're going to rule it at the moment as let's go and continue on with it, but a huge accident out there at the front tips it in, and that's just a case of everyone trying to go for the Hail Mary this early on. We're only at halfway's worth in the race, and it's taken out a major part of the group, and I would say that the unsafety car was too busy setting fastest laps, Caleb, in the race to actually think about throwing a safety car. Unsafety car deployed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that was even debatable. I mean, we have 5-6 cars with significant damage there in turns 3 and 4, but looks like we will get one as a result of that accident. Huge wreck involving some of your leaders, and again for Sloppy Joe, gets that lead back and automatically has to start pacing again. But second caution of the day here at Indianapolis.
So it's the old adage, isn't it, Caleb? Cautions breed cautions.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I was kind of wondering about right before we took the green flag, of would we see something similar to that first run where everybody gets settled into their own groove, own line. But I really think now... Where's that at? Oh,
right,
yeah, he's lost it on the back straightaway. Now Adam Nunez has lost it with Funky T-Bone, gets spun up on the outside. So the unsafety car really living up to the name here is they cannot figure it out under yellow.
Well, I'm looking around at it there from Solstice. I don't think this was a case of too much that could help. The wheel just snapped to the right. She tried to save it, and ultimately there was, a massive incident that brings it round the other way again. A lot of damage over to the front right, and they haven't got infinite fast repairs to go and work with in a series like this. They might think, oh, you got infinite fast repairs to work with. You've only got 4 fast repairs available. We'll take another look.
And for Solstice here.
Oh, hit the brakes.
That is tough scenes. And then you can see the secondary contact there between T-Bone and Adam Nunez trying to avoid that.
Caleb, let's talk about jamming the brakes in these next-gen cars. How easy it is to just lock up the rears and just see it go, whoop, round you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's the exact same conversation we were having with getting on the pit lane under that green flag pit cycle. But yeah, when you slam the brakes, it's very easy to lock those brakes up and stop the wheels from spinning completely. That's not what you want, because at that point, you're just sliding. And when you're sliding, you're out of control, like we just saw with Solstice, similar to what we saw with Grand Pooh Bear a little bit earlier on that pit cycle. So yeah, bigger brakes, more effective for sure. But yeah, there is absolutely finesse to how much brake you use so you don't lock up those fronts and lose control of the race car. But incredibly easy, and it has struck Solstice here.
It has, and I tell you what this has done for the field. Sloppy Joe is your leader. I am Dino second. Charles Wimbley, the instigator of the incident, now third. Presley Sora fourth, and Reska Kyoso in fifth place. The cars that are right up at the front, Josh's corner, miles back. Ancephalosis, miles back. Funky T-Bone, even more miles back. Thoughts now of do I want to take or not? Oh, we got some dummies being thrown, and the likes of Charles Wimbley coming in for service. Goen, Liz Fox taking that service. Josh's corner is going to come in and go in with B-Roy, who's got to deal with the damage after the wheel went, and Adam Nunez as well. So about a half dozen deciding, right, we're going to pit NMW no matter what.
I mean, I'm absolutely coming down the pit lane at this point, 10 out of 10 times. And I mean, the other thing too, try to use this caution to your advantage. See if, you know, again, I would be shutting the motor off, trying to conserve as much as possible. I mean, we are just shy of 30 laps to go. You look back to Rescue Kyoso, didn't make that pit stop until 27 laps into that initial run. So, I mean, you're only talking about saving 3 or 4 laps. Now, I will say that is a lot easier said than done, but it is absolutely possible. So I wonder if we see anybody come back down, maybe try to top off here in a little bit, but right before we take the green flag here. But overall, yeah, I think you pit 10 out of 10 times. Not only that, but allows you a little bit more room, I think, to be more aggressive on these restarts.
And further to that, Caleb, how critical is it that even if you can't make the number, it makes the decision for you that you don't take tyres at the stop, you just put a morsel of fuel in?
Yeah, I mean, I think it gives you all around a lot more flexibility, like you mentioned. The other thing, too, is if you have more fuel in the car right now, it's, you know, ideally shortens that pit stop, similar to what we see in the real-life super speedways on the NASCAR side of things, where, again, they've updated these pit stops to where they reflect real life. You know, we're only seeing, you know, 9-10 second stops. So, you know, when you're sitting there waiting for fuel to fill up, you know, that is all time that you are trying to mitigate losing, right? So, like I said, if I'm behind the wheel right now, I'm absolutely pitting, and I'm really surprised, honestly, that we saw such a split decision here on this restart.
And part of that will come to the fact that we've got some drivers here who are oval specialists, some drivers who are jumping in and saying, this is my cup of coffee here for oval this season of Creator Series. It's not a case of we've got a consensus and everyone knows and understands it. I think it's the consensus of, okay, we are going to see people think very differently to what we would see in a regular oval series out here on iRacing.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all about adapting, right? And this is, you know, unlike no other, not only in the type of track, but adapting to a quick lap 30 caution. And now, again, this race that we thought we had figured out, you know, on lap 28, 29, that we were just going to fall in and do this fuel strategy thing like you were saying. And now all of a sudden it's a classic tale of survive these restarts, and we'll see how the cautions fall for these guys. But Sloppy Joe and I Am Dino on the front row, 2 really fast drivers. So we'll see how this pans out. But I feel really good about car number 08 right now.
Well, 08 is looking to try and say, look, we're going to be flying about, has been pretty much running roughshod from the front of the field from, believe it or not here, Caleb, pole position has indicated it's been a horrible season for Sloppy Joe. Hasn't really got too much in, but something about Indy, something here about Speedway Indiana, it's clicking right now for him. It's working.
Yeah, we'll see how that continues, though. I really like Presley Sora, Rescue Kyoso. Both have been really, really quiet lurkers all night. Now have a shot at maybe trying to take this lead away from Sloppy Joe for the first time, really, tonight.
So, Sloppy Joe now for his restart here with Dino, Presley, Sora, Reska, Kyoso, Greedy Me, and Yellow Vision up now into 6th place, all looking to try and say, look, it's our time, it's our moment. Green flag will be waiting on the call of Sloppy Joe as they get to the restart zone, and the push is there, and we are back underway at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, lap 41, 30 to go at the Brickyard.
I am Dino with a really formidable run up to that outside. Sloppy Joe's going to get loose there on the inside. Coughs up a lot of time and going to cough up the lead to I am Dino. On that outside out of turn number 2, Reska Kyoso gets past Presley Sora. They fall into line. The first 5 down the back straightaway. Yellow Vision with them.
And now those who are behind starting to push, like Charles Wimbley. Zach Mertis throws the block in the background, which now puts Grand Pooh Bear in a little bit of a sticky wicket here as they try and push into 3 and over towards 4. And so you now start looking around at Ancephalos's back there, wanting to try and get a piece of the pie as well. On board with Grand Pooh Bear. Grant, you're going to have to
He's going to get
looking
turned,
a bit more
going.
big trouble.
Oh, and they almost hit the pit wall there, but Going and Grand Pooh Bear fly down the pit lane. Contact between another championship leader and Going, already having a rough one.
Nothing
and what
you can
happens
do here. Look, Going just turns up on the scene. They get a bit loose. There's contact between them, and very fortunate for the pair of them, that one goes straight down pit lane. They both have speeding penalties to go with it. They both had them cleared. But ultimately, I would turn around, look at that and go, it's not an unsafety car, it's happened off the racing surface.
And I don't know what black magic is happening in the 171 camp, but he's up here in 5th right now, and his main championship rival. We were talking about just 15 laps ago about him needing a reversal of fortune, being back in the 12th spot, going up in the 5th place. And Yellow Vision now holds his 5th spot, has a lot of speed, and he watches his main championship rival fly into the pit lane with the black flag, almost at risk of going a lap down now. So this is played right into the hands of car number 171, as it has all year long.
Well, I think there's some cold play in the ears, because you've got to look at the stars and how they shine for Yellow Vision, because it was all yellow at the moment, the way that this is starting to turn back around. But he'll be looking at getting aggressive here and really making the hurt. Get by Presley Sora, Reska Kyoso, Sloppy Joe, and I am Dino here. It's all about trying to work to get that line sorted. You're trying to use these huge long straights to your advantage. Back to the yard of bricks. Once again, Presley Sora, though, doing a very good job at what is 320 kilometers an hour, but in freedom units, 200 miles an hour that they are hitting along these straights before they have to descend onto the brakes into 1 and subsequently again here into 2.
Ooh, Presley Sora, a big wiggle off at turn number 2 there. That's going to be enough to maybe give up 4th. Yellow Vision's going to have enough to peek down to the inside. That was a really close call for the 98. And I'm really surprised that he didn't lose that position from that.
Fought really hard for it, did well at pinching down the line and said, no, not going to be like that. Lithium Fox side by side back there with Ancephalosis, and that's going to be a change for position. Then with Lit starting to make some moves up the order and go through. We'll take another look here at the replay, and just the tiniest of little wiggles makes the room there. But the key's going to be, how much do you want to be a rough shot general out there on these straights and corners here, Caleb? Because if you can get the car to be slightly wider than you feel it is, it's going to give you so much more room. And you're talking the tiniest wiggle through 2.
Yeah, and I mean, that replay, you can really see how minuscule it was. It was not a lot, but it was enough for car number 98. And the thing that plays into that as well is if you're trying to manage the handling of the car, you can't get the power back down and back onto the throttle. And you feel that the entire length of that long back straightaway. The similar goes for turn number 4 and the front straightaway, but you cough up a lot of time by doing that. And Presley Sora right now, I mean, he's about a half a second off of Reska Kyoso in that 3rd spot now. So meanwhile, on board with Sloppy Joe, as he is for the first time today trying to chase someone down had a comfortable 7-second lead at the drop of that first on safety car, and now really trying to manage this half-a-second gap to Dino, who was able to strike on that restart and take it away from car number 08.
I tell you who the key's going to be of this race, though, and actually talking of this championship, it's the driver in third place here, Caleb, right now, and it is going to be, right now, Reska Kyoso, who's key, and you're listening in at Sloppy Joe. We're hearing drivers actually turning the engine off through the middle of the corner here. This is a big fuel save.
Yeah, so this is one of those veteran oval moves that we were talking about. But you're trying to stretch the distance as much as you can, and this again goes against, why I feel like Sloppy Joe really would have benefited from pitting, from getting some of that extra fuel under the last caution period. But yes, using not only that slipstream, which he is, losing a little bit of time to Dino, so you really got to manage that gap and stay firmly within the slipstream. But yes, on the back half of this straightaway, shut the engine completely off. You're consuming no fuel. That will really add up over the course of a run.
You can see the revs just absolutely drop from right up top to nothing, as you can see them working through and saying, look, I'm going to be trying to do everything I can to say, look, this is a fuel saver, and this is absolutely everybody on the edge trying to make sure that they've either got enough to make it or not. And that's why Dino, I think, might not be in the best place in the world, because if you're having to do the donkey work at the front, like your Isaac Del Toro for Tadej Pogacar in the Tour de France, for example, you're going to be burning more fuel than it's worth.
Yeah, the thing for Sloppy Joe here is he is losing touch with Dino, and with that, you're going to start losing touch of the draft, and you're going to be in the exact same position that the 702 is in. So Sloppy Joe, again, I respect the ignition cutting that off, but you've also got to, again, bridge that gap to first place right now and make sure that you stay within that draft. Meanwhile, Reska Kyoso in a very similar boat, but is up here firmly behind car number 08. Only about 3/10 back right now, and has a lot of that draft to go off of. So I think car number 113 in the best position right now of these three leaders.
I'll tell you what is interesting. Charles Wimbley has bridged the gap behind. They are scrapping M. Gags and Zach Mertis and Lithium Fox back there looking for position, but he has been who's going to move, and now it is going to be Yellow Vision who decides, I want to be one up the train here. Moves it to side by side here on the run past the Brickyard Crossing Golf Club down there on the inside. 3 holes on the inside, of course, to actually help PGA Tour events in the 1960s, where it was won by Arnold Palmer and Gary Player inside of 4. Then for Yellow Vision to get the clearance. The longer you're side by side, the more troublesome it is, and just can't quite get the lane to work against Presley Sora.
Again, back into turn number 1. I feel like this group, more than most, just under a blanket with Reska Kyoso, Presley Sora, and Yellow Vision. Really 2nd through 5th, everyone, and Greedy Me, I mean, not far off. So this really the action spot on the racetrack right now.
I'll tell you what will be the biggest help, Caleb, to everyone: an unsafety car.
Yeah, no, that would certainly shake things up a bit, but I think for these drivers, a little bit of a change of pace with this strategy, something that we haven't seen so far yet this season. And again, a lot of guys trying some unorthodox things to have enough for the end here.
Great run here from Yellow Vision. Has been trying to work the Oracle time and time again, and it hasn't worked. Now he's going to look to try and get the pull here into 1, but again, Presley Sora very happy to try and work on the outside and say, look, I'm going to chuck everything I can at it. I'm going to hope that it's going to work. But Presley is very happy to be aggressive at any point side by side. Presley Sora, I would argue at this point, argues track position is key. And now here's some side by side as Charles Wimbley sees Auburn Kyle just basically lift off of the throttle slightly, let him go. And this is really clever by Auburn Kyle to try and just get a little bit more fuel, try and run in someone's draft. And again, Presley Sora not willing to let this one slide.
And Yellow Vision and Presley Sora again locked in this wheel-to-wheel battle. this for the 4th spot. Presley Sora has just a little bit of a run down the front straightaway right now, but Yellow Vision able to hold strong with some of that side draft, able to pull that 98 car back. Meanwhile, 171 going to make a little bit of contact to the driver's side door while they're side by side. Greedy Me's going to be flying in from the 6th spot as well. Gets out of the throttle. We'll see if he can roll through the straightaway. Meanwhile, Presley Sora, big wiggle off in turn number 2. Definitely going to lose the 4th spot to Yellow Vision and loses 5th to Greedy Me as well.
Wimbley's going to make the move now, and the goose loose. It's 6th now that he's going to drop back then and lose, because Wimbley is going to be the one trying to be the hot knife through butter. Another one that goes flying on by. Charles Wimbley is going to be a very happy bunny at the way that he is passing out there at the moment, working hard off of 4. Back into the yard of bricks to start lap 53 here of 70, and now Greedy Me is left in a very difficult stick or twist situation, because he's looking like he wants to go aggro out there, and Presley Sora's not going to be impressed about losing 3 spots. Gets up high, almost into the wall there, off of 1, and so now it's a case of how much you're pushing and how much is that lane going to be rubbered up to the point where you're not going to be wanting as much to be right down there on the bottom.
I'm really surprised at how this run has played out. Charles Wimbley, you can see again back down to the inside of Greedy Me here. But I feel like it's a reversal of what I was expecting. Or I feel like Sloppy Joe, you know, we heard him shutting the motor off earlier. I feel like that would be the approach you see from someone like Charles Wimbley, right? Where all of that extra fuel that you save could really add up to completely cutting out a round of stops for car number 36. But no, it's the complete opposite. He has been super aggressive at getting through the traffic so far. And I mean, so much is, you know, shifting and downshifting. You know, normally if you're wanting to save fuel, you would just keep the car in that high 5th gear, keep the revs low. You know, that'll help you save over the course of the run as well. But no, it's been a completely aggressive approach, seeing him shift into that 4th gear. And again, just be super aggressive at cutting up through the pack right now. But in your top 5 is, you know, the only one in this top 5 that's in a somewhat good fuel position. Everybody else for sure going to have to pit. Here's one of them, Yellow Vision, coming from the 4th spot.
Yeah, this is early 70 to go. Big lockup from Presley Sora, just about got it on the binders. Then as they go, unsafety car team, the Staggers said, I need a spin or an instant. We're not making up yellows. From this point on outwards, you're going to have to do it legitimately to go and make that happen. So there is a lot of need for it. Hit your marks, get the crews out then, and how many tires you're going to have for the fuel that's needed, because I'd argue at this stage, 16 to go, you're still probably in 4-tire territory. Maybe if you're brave with about 10 to go, you're on, what, right side tires only?
I mean, I think you can mix with multiple strategies here, but yeah, I think right sides as well in the play. Meanwhile, here comes Sloppy Joe and Reska Kioso. Your top 2 here. Sorry, 2 of 3, rather.
Yeah, so they're both coming in, and they look like drivers who were looking to try and extend it as long as they can. The fact they've gone early, how much of a statement is that to the rest of the field?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this is really where you're expecting your money stop, right? Where, again, from an execution standpoint, you have to get everything right, because there's only 15 laps to go. There's no time to recover from any sort of mistake right now. But, you know, a big statement from Yellow Vision to lead this field down, really say, hey, I'm on offense here. I'm here to make up as many spots and challenge for this win. We'll see where exactly he cycles out. Definitely going to get past Reska Kioso. Actually, it might be close off the access road for car number 113 here.
Well, Reska, this would have been a stop to cover it off, and Lithium Fox gets a speeding penalty down the lane late. That will take Lith out of contention. Yellow Vision will get the jump on Reska Kioso, but critically, Reska Kioso, best seat in the house, right behind the championship leader.
All right, and so now we have the stage set just a little bit. Again, they've got to continue to cycle through everybody else who stayed out. on that last caution flag period. But meanwhile, I Am Dino is still firmly up. I mean, I would say, the most he could go probably another lap or two. But that's going to hand the lead off to Charles Wembley, who does have a good bit of wiggle room. Like we mentioned, did pit on that last caution. Here comes Greedy Me, Auburn Kyle, Zach Murtis.
All of them together then, making service tell and understanding what they have got to go and deal with. Goen and Sloppy Joe together. Now, here's the interesting scenario here. Goen probably needs a safety car out there, and I would be turning around and saying, well, at this point, he's going to have to rely on a little bit of help because they're not going to throw anything outside of lap 65. So I would be looking at the unsafety car team and going, right, well, if Goen needs it, he's going to have to hold himself out and probably have to get his arms out here, blocking Presley Sora in yellow vision if he wants anything to happen.
Yeah, Sloppy Joe's already gotten by him, but Goen is definitely the most aggressive fuel saver that I've seen so far. Again, is completely shutting that car off, using all the techniques we've talked about, keeping that car in the high gear, bleeding a lot of time right now, but the end goal is not to stay up in this pack for car number 87. It is to completely cut out that last pit stop and go all the way to the end from here. That is the only way that he's going to be able to salvage a good run out of today. But Rescue Kioso down to the inside right now. Got to be discouraging seeing all these cars just fly on past you.
Well, that's the bed that was made after the incident. He's hanging out for an unsafety car, but at the moment, I think he's on the wrong side of the tracks, as it were. Greedy Me and Auburn Kyle might have a look at each other here into one. We'll need to go back a couple, see how they go, as Greedy Me in the back of shot gets it done. Down on Auburn Kyle, having a very nice, easy run. Leader in, I Am Dino. Couldn't go too far along, 12 to go.
Yeah, right at that same 27-ish lap mark. That's been the most we've seen anybody stay out today. And with those numbers, that would put Charles Wembley, your leader, in here in about 6 laps. And that would be with just 5 laps to go. So again, a lot to play out here. But theoretically, the top 6 cars still needing to make pit stops. That would play right into the strategy that Sloppy Joe and Presley Sora have opted for here. Sora chasing down Sloppy Joe with about a second to make up on the 08.
But I Am Dino's come out, and I think he's going to come out ahead as Ansepalosis there in second position. Right now is just trying to keep the focus on how much can I save? How much can I get it home? This is what everyone is trying to be gambling on right now, and Charles Wembley will be one, looking to gamble on it. Back then we go to Yellow Vision, who has spent the entirety of this final stint here, Caleb. Staring at the back of Presley Sora, took forever to get by before the stops, lost back out after the stops, and now has got to go to the well and do it again.
I mean, if you're Yellow Vision right now, the urgency is not there yet. 10 laps to go, yeah, but you still have plenty of time. If I'm behind the wheel of the 171 right now, I'm letting Presley Sora do all the work for me, cut into that gap, which he's already cut 3/10 off from where we left off. Inside of 7/10 now for car number 98. So just sit in that slipstream, let him take you up to that battle for the lead. Then you really start to use your stuff and really right in crunch time of this race. So again, extremely fascinating here to watch these top 3 go at it, but going to be a little bit of a chess match, I would say, for the next 4 or so laps. After that, I would say all bets are off here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Right, we know I Am Dino is probably the one in the best position out of everyone here. He's got to try and hunt down the likes of the motorsport enthusiasts, the likes of Adam Nunez, Ansepalosis and Charles Wembley. Won't hunt down the top 3 unless they run out of fuel. And with a gap of 32 seconds, 32 and a half for Charles Wembley, even if he would run out in the last lap, he'd have to clutch in and coast for it.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I love the math there for Charles Wembley. Again, I think it would be a different story if we did see some of those aggressive fuel-saving metrics. But again, from all signs, Wembley's been going hard at it. And again, that would push him, you know, if he stayed out another 8 laps to being out there for 32 laps. That's 5 laps more than we've seen anybody in the entire field go all day. So again, just for, you know, from the numbers, I don't like how it looks, but we'll see if he can pull off a miracle here. And, you know, I've been proven wrong plenty of times before. So a lot on the line here for Wembley.
Well, Dino has caught the back of the motorsports enthusiasts as we are on board here with Charles Wembley trying to go. And the last lap was 3 seconds slower from the motorsports enthusiasts trying to get their block thrown down into turn 2. Dino is going to have to be really patient here about the way to go and get this done. The motorsport enthusiast is going to every trick in the book, all the way down to the grass there on the inside and over towards 3. The look for the inside, not there.
Really tried to lunge for it on entry. Didn't cost him as much on the back end as I thought it would. I thought he would scrub off a lot of that exit speed, but has actually rolled through the center really, really nicely and is going to have a big run on the motorsports enthusiast off of turn number 4. You can see that snake all the way down to the inside, a tell that we are within the last couple of laps here in Indy. Meanwhile, a little bit of contact that's going to send the motorsports enthusiast into the grass. Huge save from car 24.
And that might be the save that keeps the race alive for those trying to fuel save it. If he went around, that would have been the unsafety car everyone would have been looking for in the late stages of this race. And that would have put a massive spanner in the works. We stay green at Indy, but the motorsport enthusiasts will be saying, you're just not patient enough then. Funky T-Bone trying to get it down into lane. Adam Nunez from 2nd position comes in, which only leaves it for jumpers for goalposts, because it's Wembley or nothing.
Again, everybody else just trying to make up time. Sloppy Joe really trying to cut into this 2.5 back to the motorsports enthusiast in the 3rd spot here. Adam Nunez has just come down the pit lane. So now it is just Charles Wembley separating Dino on this fresher stint from the lead. And again, Dino took the lead away on that restart, was quiet for a lot of that first half of the run, but that lap 30 safety car, he was able to take advantage. And now, again, just hoping that Charles Wembley can't make it with 5 to go here in Indianapolis.
So it's now hopes and prayers that will try and get Charles Wembley home. 53.4 he did on that last lap. You look around all the way back to Dino. He is 1.1 seconds a lap. Then looking to move quicker at 5 to go. It's a case where Dino, I think, knows and understands. He's clear right now, and he's clear by a good 4 seconds. So he knows he's good to go. He's got it marked on. But Charles Wembley working hard then through the corners, and so trying to just say, look, this is going to work, but it won't, because down into the pits late goes Charles Wembley, hailed it out. We're going to be green to the end, and more critical than that, Dino is now looking at this going, race lead, oh yes please.
Sloppy Joe has caught the motorsports enthusiast here for the 3rd spot. And it is full go for the 08 with 5 laps to go. You have to make up 4.5 seconds. And I don't know, unless the 08 has a rocket attached to that car somewhere that we don't know about. That just doesn't seem like it's going to work out for him or the rest of this pack. Presley Sora was able to get clear of the motorsports enthusiast as well, who is just sitting, trying to make this fuel stretch work. Yellowvision's now going to fly by to the inside and take the 4th spot away.
Well, look around at that. Presley Sora's got a car that is very, very loose at the moment and trying to hold on, and same could have been said there for Sloppy Joe, and everyone's pushing now. Rescacchioso wants in here, and Charles Wembley is going to come out behind all of them and behind Greedy Me. So it's not paid off right now. The motorsport enthusiast is going to see that's not going to be enough. Rescacchioso now jumping up for a top 5 here at IMS as they realise now it's going to be all gloves off, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and points the aim of the game here. Does Yellowvision want to go any further and put the damage to Goen, who is in 12th currently?
And again, with 3 laps to go here from Indianapolis, it feels like for the most part your beds are made. Presley Sora is the biggest one that is within striking distance on that car ahead of him. Only about 3/10 back from second place Sloppy Joe right now. But like you mentioned, Presley Sora has been struggling with a loose condition. Lots of oversteer out of that number 98 all day long. We'll see if it hits him here with 3 laps to go, coming to 2 from Indianapolis.
Sloppy Joe, or as what he would be called in Britain, Disheveled Joseph, looking to try and hold his station right now here as he would look around. A couple of popsicle sticks will come out of the air and say it's 2 to go here at the line. But the critical matter of fact is going to be who earns that second place, that third, that fourth, those all-important points. Can Reska Kyoso capitalise on some late race drama? Does Yellow Vision want to get involved with these two?
For Yellow Vision, I feel like the biggest thing is you just hold off. I mean, I'm not going to be too aggressive and I mean, ruin what could be a really impactful points day for you. Running in 4th right now, championship rival going in 12th. 3rd place, Reska Kyoso right behind you in that 5th spot. So you're building a little bit of a deficit in that point standings already, just running where you're at. So don't ruin it. Run conservative and come home, finish this thing, come into the white flag.
Wembley as well, still focusing hard here on the outside, but I Am Dino is looking to try and be a title threat as the white flag will come out here, presented by nobody, because we're not that sort of place. I Am Dino has run the gauntlet from 20th on the grid as someone who is in on a part-time schedule and looking to build points after points after points out there. That's been his way of saying, look, I am going to try and do what I can. We have never had somebody who has been on a part-time schedule go and take the crown, but that's the way that he's going to want to try and put the damage on. He's got gaps over Sloppy Joe, who has driven admirably today. Presley Sora as well, still holding on for that 3rd over Yellow Vision, but into turn 4, it will be at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. His name is Dino, and he knows that he has just put a lesson to the rest of the field. My title hope's still alive. He wins here at the Brickyard at a ton of bricks, 250.
The rest of the field here coming across the line. A little bit of contact between Wembley and the Motorsports Enthusiast. The Motorsports Enthusiast was able to stretch it 30 laps on that final run. Comes home with a very admirable 8th place finish. Presley Sora was able to hold off Yellow Vision for that final step on the podium. Everybody else still sorting their positions out as they come across the line. Zach Murtis now, Solstice, Adam Nunez, and then a tough day for Going. Back in P17, looks like is out of fuel off of the final corner.
Oh, doing a Ryan loser coming to the line here, except the difference is he's not leading at this moment in time. He is going to have to desperately hope he can clutch that in down to 50 kilometers an hour. Is I Am Dino going to push him over the line here? Oh, that's going to be some really great sportsmanship then from what are now championship contenders each. That is really some great sportsmanship here by Dino. Everybody needs to finish.
For Going, he tried to gamble but couldn't quite do it. 28 laps he tried to go to the end. Not the case though for I Am Dino, who gets to burn it down at the Yard of Bricks.
Well, he burns it down and says it's his victory, and he does so by 4.7 in an hour and 10 here around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Sloppy Joe gets second from pole position, and Presley Sora will be the final driver up inside your top 3. Yellow Vision, though, will make strides in the championship with Reska Kyoso directly behind, who will now surely become nearest challenger in 5th place. Greedy Me and Charles Wembley 6th and 7th, as Wembley and the Motorsports Enthusiast would crash together coming to the line. It will be Auburn Kyle who will take 9th place ahead of M-Gags Racing then, who would make up your top 10. B-Roy with a wheel that would want to disconnect. Left, right, up, down, sideways, slantways, you name it. 11th it will be, making the best of a bad situation with Ancephallosis and Zach Mertis, 12th and 13th. Josh's Corner will be 14th ahead of Solstice with Adam Nunez, and then eventually going over the line, needing help to be pushed to go and make it. One down for Lith Fox and Funky T-Bone, with Grand Pooh Bear at 2 laps adrift. Your last finisher in the race here today. And a very tough day at the office for Grand Pooh Bear, who got caught up with that incident going down pit lane with going in the final stages. But sometimes it's not all about the late race caution that brings the green-white checker style finish to racing action. That one was an old school fuel saver and had everybody scratching their heads on what strategy they needed to be on.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it was a lot more of a slow burn than what we've seen this season for the Creator Series. And I think it's only fitting that we saw that pace, that tempo of a race here from Indianapolis. We talked pre-show about how unique of a challenge it was. And again, really the first time that we've had fuel cycles and fuel runs thrown at these drivers all night long, had to be on your heels. But I Am Dino, I mean, it does end up being a key pass on that final restart to get past Sloppy Joe that really put him in position for the rest of that race. And again, a fantastic drive from Dino to again, really wrestle that away from Sloppy Joe, who at one point felt like he was the guy to beat.
This could be a case of a reserve going for the championship, and I think now is as good a time as any to go and get to talk with I Am Dino, who is here right now in victory lane as a winner as we sit on what is virtual gasoline alley, and saying, well, Dino, you have won at the Brickyard, and how critical was it just to keep your head above board? A very long green flag start to this one, and a very long end to the race as well, having to figure out whether you had it good or not.
I was, well, there's a phrase that I could use that I'm not going to, but I was very, very nervous there at the end of that race. When that second yellow came out, it was right on the window of the fuel to be able to make it to the end. I figured there were going to be some that were going to try, but I just thought the track position and that stretch would have been a bit much. And then for a little bit, I was trying to like lift and coast and play both sides, but it became very obvious very early that, you know, nobody was going to be able to make it without a without an unsafety car appearance. And I mean, Charles, I was gritting my teeth, hoping that he'd have to pit. And when he came in, it was all green light from there.
Yeah, I mean, how much would you say that all of that was really shaped by that pass you made on Sloppy Joe on the restart, not having to worry about that extra element of battling for the lead while watching, again, everybody cycle out, like you mentioned, trying to chase down Charles Wembley, you know, seeing those guys just come off the board in front of you?
Yeah, I tell you what, I got to give a huge shout out to Sloppy Joe for racing me clean on that restart. I mean, that was a pucker moment for sure. I knew if I was going to win the race, I probably had to get him on the restart, or else, you know, I was going to be back with the squirrels. And thankfully, got ahead of him, and then just tried to control the pace from there. And just watching everybody come to pit road one by one by one. I was having a debate with my spotter and a couple of people in my chat on when was going to be the perfect time to pit, and I think it worked out. And finally, I don't know if you guys got told this, but I've finished 4th 5 weeks in a row, and that ends now. So I'm a very, very happy camper.
Well, you know, the consistency streak is one thing, and sometimes that helps you build your margin. A victory like this, you came into today 6th in points, and you're certainly going to be making some big strides up the order with that. Are you suddenly starting to feel that if you can get a couple more starts, if the grid opens up for you the way you need to, are you quietly thinking you're a dark horse for this title?
I mean, Yellow Vision, I think, was able to come back to 4th, so I don't think I'll be gaining too many points on him. I missed the first race of the season, but there might be some way that I could work out some double point shenanigans, and if I can get that from the wonderful people here at the Creator Series, I think I do have a chance to win the title for sure.
Only 36 points back then as far as it goes between now and the end of the season. I Am Dino, your winner here, and takes the ton of bricks 250 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and can be really happy about that. Sloppy Joe, second from what was a pole position start here today. And Joe, I think the question's going to be, what did you do with Clark Kent? Superman turned up.
I just did the best I could. That last restart there, me and my buddy who was spotting for me, we said how important the clean air is here, and we got a good restart. He just got just as good of a restart as us, and kind of got us on the quarter panel there and got our side draft, and it was sort of a race to who wasn't going to wreck it in 1 and 2 and get that clean air, and he just did a better job there and took control of the race. But I'm pretty proud of that run, man. I'm just pretty happy with that run, and it's okay to finish second to a guy like Dino, so pretty happy about it.
Yeah, it really felt like you were the guy to beat after that first 30 or so laps, but that unsafety car really threw a wrench into things and turned the race on its head for you. I mean, again, just talk us through, I guess, the anxiety of trying to run Dino down while also managing all of the fuel strategy and everything that was going on in those final 20, 25 laps.
Yeah, our Driven Chevy was really good up front. Also, shout out to Driven, brand new partner of my channel and everything. So first ever race with them on the hood today, so we did a pretty good job with that, so I'm proud of it. But car felt really good in the clean air. Like we mentioned, clean air was really important, and it was pretty cool to be on the pole there, and wanted to make sure it wasn't an accident to be up there. So we did a really good job, led a lot of laps, and once that safety car came out, our strategy really changed into more of like how can we break down the fuel to kind of breaking it in half, right? So we're not going too far on the tires, too short on the tires, and as I saw, Yell starting to move up. I saw Charles, I saw Dino, kind of like the big guys in this series that know how to get up there at the end. So I knew it was going to get harder for us. And my buddy up in the spotter stand, he did a fantastic job putting me on the right strategy to be there contending for it. But I mean, right there at the end, it was definitely a challenge because you had Presley right there and Yellow right there. We were kind of like seeing who was going to make the first mistake, and Dino was just kind of in that clean air. So while trying to maintain with him, I was just doing the best I could to keep the car away from the wall and not knock the toe out or anything like that. So, gotta think big picture, gotta think points, gotta think of a good run there. And from 4 seconds back, it's gonna take a miracle to get up there. He's gotta make a huge mistake. So, like I said, just had to find that healthy balance, right? I mean, P2 here at Indy is not really the place you want to be, but it's a pretty good place to finish, though.
Well, we're going to go from one Indy to a different type of Indy, Brands Hatch, that will be coming up as round 9 of the championship. I know it's a few weeks away, but moving back, it's been pretty varied in terms of there's been not really too much oval running. There's been quite a bit of, road course style running. Do you think that abundance of road course style, that has been out there, do you think that affects you in the way that you want to go about now these final 2 rounds of the season?
Yeah, well, I mean, first and foremost, when I signed up for the NASCAR season, I thought there was going to be more ovals. So seeing all the road courses was definitely a bit of an eye-opener for me. But I got to give props to the people who made the schedule. More road courses, more work behind the wheel. I think I've lost a couple pounds from all these races, from all the wheeling we've done. But, coming from someone like me who has a huge oval background, the road courses are definitely a challenge, right? It's really a challenge for anybody here who loves to make those left turns and all that. But I really appreciate the challenge. I know we're really far back in the points. We haven't ran the whole season, but I've really made a goal of myself to just become a better iRacer through the series. There's some really talented guys in here who, live and breathe the road racing, right? So just being able to run laps close to them or fighting side by side with them, or at least competing in lap times, is just a huge milestone. And that's sort of the mindset I want to take when we go to the next road course here, is just to, be confident in yourself, run good laps, just be competitive in your own way, and just run your race. And I feel like we've been doing that really well the last few weeks, and I'm eager to go to a road course and see if we can keep that up.
Well, I will say this to you. Go out there and enjoy the rest of the rounds of your season, because that was a wonderful display of driving here at IMS. The Brickyard is second for Sloppy Joe. He had a wonderful run of things today. And third overall ends up being Presley Sora. And Presley, we caught a very, very good eye on what you were able to run with, but it looked like today you had that set up in your car just looking very loose, wanting turning, wanting understanding of, okay, I want this car to really bite in and get what I need to. How much work was it for you trying to wrestle with your car today?
Yeah, that's for sure. That's to put it lightly. I was sweating there at the end of that thing. It was a really fun race. Definitely difficult. I mean, I don't think I'd ever run the next-gen car at this track before, but it's actually really, really, really fun. I mean, obviously there's aero push and stuff like that, but I mean, it is a driver's race. So that was fun. Yeah, I was working so hard there at the end because I wasn't sure if Dino was going to be good on fuel. I couldn't believe that he was. I thought that he was going to run out or pit, but I thought that me and Joey were the race for the win. So, gosh, he had like, I don't know, a second and a half or so on me after I came out of the pits, and I was just running him down, and I got to a couple laps to go, and I mean, I was about a half a second from him. I don't know if I would have caught him or not, but man, I stepped the thing out sideways, knocked the wall down, kept it going, stayed in front of Aaron there. So yeah, I was wheeling the thing, but it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're understating it a little bit talking about wheeling it. You know, it felt like you were struggling really a loose condition all race. And I mean, a couple of really key saves from you to keep you up and keep you in the conversation right in that third spot.
Yeah, I don't even know if I was struggling with being loose or if it was more a deal where I was just getting so used to being in the aero wash. Like most of my loose moments were when I just passed a car and got into clean air. So I think it was more driver error than anything. Like I don't think I was necessarily loose. I think I was just driving it like I was when the car was tight in dirty air, and that doesn't work in clean air. So I stepped on it a few times, but yeah, had a crazy save out of turn 2. I don't really know how I caught the thing, but yeah, loose is fast though, so we'll take it.
So now, how do you shift your mind to the final 2 rounds of the season? I know you're just inside the top 10. This will certainly help you elevate in that regard, Presley. But you've got Brands Hatch and you've got New Hampshire. So how are you looking at targeting those final 2 rounds of the season to make a late vault up the order?
Yeah, Brands Hatch is going to be crazy. And I'm actually looking at the schedule there, and I'm really glad that we've got a couple weeks because I would have actually been gone that next week. So I will be here for both of those, so that's good. I was a little unsure, actually, but Brands Hatch will be fun. It's a really cool road course. I'm not a road course guy. I'll probably be slow, but heck, I'm gonna try just the same. So that'll be good. And then New Hampshire, I love New Hampshire. It's kind of obviously a different track from Indy, but it's a driver's track, so I like that. And I feel like the short tracks really suit me pretty well on here. So yeah, we'll hope for the best at Brands Hatch, but New Hampshire I'd expect to be up towards.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck then on your adventures in the final 2 rounds of the season. A 3rd place for Presley Sora, and one that he can be very, very proud of in terms of what he's been capable of doing. Caleb, though, final thoughts as we bring proceedings to a close here from 16th Street and Georgetown Road as we head over to Forkham in Kent and over to Paddock Hill Bend.
Yeah, I mean, a really well-needed break. Obviously, we have the special event going on next week before we take August 4th off, and we're back at Brands Hatch for the final push to the championship on August 12th. But these guys have had a long and grueling season behind them, and obviously one of the more unique races here tonight. Like I said, I was honestly really surprised at the cadence. I thought we would see a lot more of those kind of restarts, wad 'em up, you know, just like you were mentioning, cautions breed cautions type of race. But really impressed at the field tonight. They were able to keep it together. They were able to keep each other taken care of, and we got a really good strategy race out of it. And again, really exciting moments all around. We saw lots of passing, I think, is the most important thing. Where, again, you know, Indianapolis, it's a very finesse skilled track where, you know, we don't see that type of side-by-side racing very often. So to get that kind of a best of both worlds here tonight was a treat. And then for I Am Dino, obviously, you know, he gets a big win here tonight. But now our focus shifts to the championship fight. Obviously, Yellow Vision got the reversal of fortune. We were talking about it, but Goen comes home in 17th. Almost, you know, you might think takes him out of the championship picture. So only 2 points races left. We'll see if Reska Kioso has anything, but just a dominant stretch here for Yellow Vision. And consistent is the word I would use for car 171 all year long.
Consistency is often the aim of the game, and that is going to need to be the key back in August when we will be with you at Brands Hatch for round 9 out of 10. We've got a couple of things to touch upon just in front of that as well with Creator Series and iRacing, and we are really looking forward in that regard. So stay with us here in terms of what comes up on the run through from Caleb Hoffman and Gareth Allen behind the scenes, and then of course myself, Jake Sperry, here bringing you the coverage along with what a day at the office for Dino. His streak of fourths may snap in terms of races, but a win today will elevate him up into that 4th place and say, I've got a sneaking suspicion that I can make a late charge for the title. There are no guarantees out here in Season 4, but Yellow Vision keeps the consistency up, keeps the pressure on Tereska Kyoso. Going is going the wrong way after a result like today, but they know what lies for them with 2 rounds to go. Pressure mounts, opportunity knocks, and any small mistake is exacerbated to the nth degree. We'll see you with more racing action. Championship resumes in August over at Brands Hatch.